It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body, supplements that get you moving and keep you moving, that make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Tami, and I'm a 47-year-old perimenopausal mama. I'm a nurse. I work here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Also juggling a very busy life, as we all are. So between raising my teens and a busy household and caring for others, I cannot be bogged down by brain fog, mood swings, or energy crashes. Even though I'm in perimenopause, it may be my story, but I'm definitely not going to let it run the show. So here we are. I'm here to take control, stay proactive with my wellness, and share that information with other women as well, because I know it's a challenging time for us all. But tonight we have our special guest. We have Dr. Ashley Keays. She's a physician with over 20 years experience in women's health and wellness. She has a family practice, trained but specialized in mental health, and has a unique practice that allows her personalized care plans directly related to their health issues and recommends supplements and products catered to their individual needs. Welcome, Dr. Ashley.
Thank you, Tami. I love being on here. I love being able to do this with you, a friend. And I am especially excited to share this topic with all of you tonight because treating menopausal symptoms naturally is very near and dear to my heart. Very early in my adulthood, I had a very life-changing event that left me menopausal in my early 20s. So I want you to imagine being without estrogen for the next 60 years in your life.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So they placed me on synthetic estrogen and progesterone. And within 4 years, I had a mini stroke. And so they immediately took me off, and I was then not eligible to be on hormone replacement therapy. And so, I was no longer a candidate then. And so now here I was, menopausal in my early 20s, and had to navigate menopause for about 30 years without 3 supplements. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's also overwhelming. 20s, perimenopause, all that stuff would be crazy.
But what it gave me is it gave me this wonderful opportunity to learn what was really important for my perimenopausal and menopausal patients.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I guess that leads us into our topic tonight, the
Mhm.
dreaded perimenopause, menopause symptoms, and how can we manage them?
Yeah. So I think we should start, let's start at the beginning, right? So the definition of menopause, like when are you actually in menopause? Okay. Um, and the definition of being in menopause is really when it's defined when you permanently stop periods for about 12 months. Without any hormone intervention, without any other medical issues like thyroid or anything like that, without any other ultimate things that have kind of intervened and caused you to actually stop having periods.
Yes,
Mhm.
lovely.
Yeah.
It is so confusing because, of course, in this day and age, it's being talked about so much because I think it's been such a faux pas topic that so let's think of for managing symptoms, say for perimenopause and menopause.
Yeah. Okay.
How would we
So
do that?
we have hormone replacement therapy, right? Which is actually replacing those hormones with estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, orally injectable, transdermal. But this potentially can pose risk, right? So if women are age 50 or older, there was a study done, and the largest study was in 2002, which they always go back to. It was a WHI study, which is the Women's Health Initiative study, and it found that there was a lot of risk if we use synthetic hormones. And the risk is for heart disease, stroke, and breast cancer. And so those risks are still present. Um, we also know now they studied women who were over 50 because that was the group, but clearly there is a risk for people who are under 50 right here, right?
Yeah, no
So,
kidding.
I mean, I was 24 and I had a mini stroke. So, um, I turned to nutraceuticals. That's what we're going to focus on tonight. So, nutraceuticals and supplements supported me, and they pose very little to no risk. Um, and that they can actually make a world of difference.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I mean, it's so good to have options.
right. Absolutely.
Um, yeah. When we're talking about symptoms, of
Mhm.
course, the number one I hear about is hot flashes and night sweats, which I have not had the pleasure of experiencing yet, thank goodness. Um, but why do we
Mhm.
experience this and how do we reduce them?
Yeah, okay. So most symptoms that we experience during menopause are related to hormonal shifts. That makes a lot of sense, right? It's the
Yep.
declining estrogen fluctuations. So what basically happens is we start to experience these shifts, and it starts to affect our brain's thermostat, for lack of a better term or way
Yep.
of explaining it. And so the body starts to mistake or perceive our surroundings and think that it's too warm. And so it starts to initiate this cooling process, and we start to sweat. Our blood vessels start to dilate, and it starts to cause this heat surge, or like our own personal summer, right? Which happens the most inopportune times,
Of
and it really
course.
just it disrupts everything. So you may see people in the middle of of an office meeting, where they're trying to not make it so obvious they've got the beads of sweat on their upper lip, all that good stuff, right? It interrupts sleep, it interrupts work, social events, and so basically it is that fluctuation in estrogen. So what do we do for that? Um, there are things called phytoestrogens, where basically they are phytonutrients that look very much like the molecule of estrogen. And taking them can trick the body into thinking that you have estrogen in your system. One of those phytonutrients is resveratrol. So, resveratrol, if you have not heard of that before, it is a polyphenol or a phytoestrogen. Um, and it is also a very good antioxidant. Where do we find it? We find it in red wine. It's that cardioprotective um, polyphenol that we see in red wine. It also supports detox, adrenal regulation, helps modulate body temperature. However, we may find it in red wine, but we would have to drink a ton of red wine to really get the protectant or the body temperature regulation that we would want in order to really get the effects. To get a really good high dose of resveratrol, you really need to take a supplement. Threes Eternal, so our little purple packet,
One
has,
of my faves.
yay, right? It has a very, very high dose of resveratrol. I would recommend at least 100 milligrams of resveratrol, which is what Eternal has. That equates to about 200 glasses of wine. So
Yeah, we don't want to be
um,
drinking that much.
I would not recommend that at a sitting, but so that's pretty incredible. And the cardioprotective properties of that are pretty amazing too. So
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah,
And it tastes good too.
and it tastes good too.
But something else I notice as to talking with people and whatnot, fatigue and energy crashes. I know
Mm,
I
yeah.
manage my schedule is 2 12-hour shift days, 2 12-hour shift nights, and then of course I pick up shifts in between and I work part-time at a home care. Um, but
Yeah.
I have been noticing how much it's now taking a toll on me. So why is this different during menopause and how can we change it or navigate it?
Yeah. It's so hard, right? You feel like, my gosh, I could do this when I was younger. Why can't I do
Yeah.
this now, right? Yeah. Again, we can blame hormonal shifts. Um, And this is really common during menopause. And sleep disturbances and mood changes are oftentimes a decline in estrogen and progesterone levels. They can cause a impact on our energy level, and they can affect mood, which then leads to this feeling of exhaustion, waking up feeling tired, midday crashes, complete mental burnout. So there's two antioxidants that I would recommend for this. One of them, which I think is the most important, and that is CoQ10. Because what CoQ10 does is it really helps recharge the mitochondria. Mitochondria are those little powerhouses in the cells. They actually produce energy at a cellular level, and they boost sustained energy. So it increases that cellular energy right at the source, um, and it helps reduce fatigue. There were some studies that were done that showed after taking a sustained dose of at least 200 milligrams of CoQ10 for at least 30 days, people noticed a huge increase in energy. Again, our Eternal has 300 milligrams of what we call ubiquitone, which is the highest bioavailable. Bioavailable means the best absorbable CoQ10 that there is out there. So that has that has even more than the studies showed of the best absorbable form of CoQ10. So that's the first one.
Absorption's key.
Yes, right? The
Yeah.
second one is glutathione. Glutathione is our best antioxidant out there. It's the most studied. It is absolutely incredible. It helps detox sluggish cells. Okay. It improves oxygen use, reduces oxidative stress. It clears any estrogen metabolites. So this is one that I'd recommend at least 1,000 milligrams daily. Eternal has 2,000 milligrams in it. So um, again, this is not a magic bullet, but maybe it is, No, but it really, really has everything in there and more. So
Right?
yeah, really, really makes a big difference.
It is amazing.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and then the next, of course, complaint is like when we're in mid conversation and we suddenly forget what we're talking about. I just like,
Yes,
what?
I know
What was
exactly
I
how
just
that
talking
feels.
about? I just did that today too. And I was like trying to describe something, but it gets so frustrating, especially, and then it creates
Yeah.
mood swings because you're sitting there racking your brain trying to remember what you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah, that short-term memory, that um, difficulty focusing, remembering things, um, generally feeling mentally foggy. Um, we see this a lot during menopause. Um, and primarily it's hormonal shifts again. Um, and particularly it is a decline in estrogen. And what we often see is it is basically a fluctuation that causes an effect on neurotransmitters in the brain, which then influences cognition, mood, and sleep. So it's never one thing, right? But it is like a domino effect.
Mm.
Um, the two wonderful antioxidants that I talked about already, glutathione and resveratrol, they both protect neurons. They're neuroprotective, which is really helpful. One of the things that we believe that causes some of this brain fog is microinflammation in the brain.
Oh,
So, if we have anything that can help protect that, but also decrease inflammation, that's really helpful. Um, we believe that glutathione, anything that's resveratrol, glutathione, any antioxidants also help with inflammation. So they reduce inflammation in the brain.
hmm.
The second thing are any of those really powerful berry blends, goji, pomegranate. They really have the phytonutrients that help elevate mood, and they can help with that mental sharpness. So we find that in Eternal, but there's also a very good berry blend in our Vitalite, which is our multivitamin complex. The
Another one
other,
of my favorites.
I know this is my other big favorite.
Yeah.
Um, The other thing that is really, really important in our that Vitalite does is it helps promote something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. So if you've never heard of BDNF, that is a very, very important neurotransmitter in our brain. It's kind of like a growth factor for the brain.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
and it is very, very important for mental clarity. They had a third party group come in and study when people took Vitalite and how did it impact the amount of BDNF in their brain. And
Mm.
what they found is Vitalite increases the amount of BDNF that we produce by over 800%.
Holy
It blows
cow.
my mind. And what
Wow.
and what I will tell you is I notice a difference when I consistently take this. I'm much clearer. I'm sure my patients appreciate when I take this, but my patients notice a difference when they
Yeah.
take this, and so that's important. When I get the feedback from my patients, I'm like, I did good, right?
Yeah,
That's
for
what it's all
sure.
about.
That's what exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Then yeah, so another thing that I've been noticing coming up on all my feeds and gimmicks about, how to make your skin more youthful and
Uh-huh.
less anti-aging, less wrinkles. Do we need all these like those gimmicks, those rollers and the gua sha? Is it a gua sha they're calling it right now?
Don't waste your money on all these different things, right? Um, Wrinkles during menopause are primarily caused by a decline in the estrogen levels, which then lead to a decrease in collagen and elastin production. Okay. And essentially, skin elasticity and firmness then start to decline. Um, the reduction in the collagen and elastin are also the factors with the skin thinning, dryness, loss of plumpness, the wrinkles. When we start to notice, we start to get the sunken areas in our skin, all those kinds of areas. That is because the little centers in our skin that produce collagen start to actually stop producing them.
Right.
There's a few things that make a big difference. One is marine collagen. That will replenish the lost collagen, which is due to estrogen decline. It will promote the skin elasticity, reduces dryness. Eternal, again, has very highly bioavailable marine collagen. You want to make sure you're taking marine collagen. That's very important. You don't want bovine, you don't want, all these other ones. It really needs to be marine collagen. But if you're really trying to focus on improving your skin, then you want a higher dose than just what's in here. And the collagen has 5 grams of highly bioavailable collagen. And so this is really where you want to top it off on top of your Eternal.
Right.
In addition, it has vitamin C, it has hyaluronic acid, it has biotin, keratin, pomegranate juice. So all these other things that really, really help enhance the skin and the elasticity, reduces dryness, all those kinds of things.
And it tastes good too.
It does taste good too, right?
It's like a little dessert.
Right. The other things that really can help support collagen production and skin brightness that happens to be in the Eternal is camu, which is it's actually like it's a citrus fruit that has really, really high vitamin C. And so that's good. And vitamin C is really good for skin brightness and helping with evening tone. And then if you're really wanting to focus on your skin, these are all for internal, right? So we start with internal to really try and boost up and build the skin from inside. But then it's really important to nourish and hydrate the skin from the outside, right?
Yeah.
With a product that doesn't have any toxins, or any additives. And so the 3 has this Visage collection that is really amazing. It hydrates, it nourishes, it evens skin tone and texture. And so that's another thing that I think would be a really wonderful addition.
Yeah, as we're trying to detox ourselves and then we put horrible skincare on, what's the point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're going to clean yourself from the inside, you got to put it on topically as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I know another big thing for a lot of women, and I notice we see a lot of commercials on the thinning hair right up at the front for all women. So that's very important to us as when we're always out there, doing our thing.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Yeah.
be all lost hair here.
Yeah, it's largely due to hormonal shifts, lower estrogen and higher testosterone, which affects that hairline growth of the growth cycle of those follicles and the follicle health. Yeah, yeah.
What's another thing oh, yes. The big one is we definitely, as we're getting older, like sitting on the floor and then trying to get back up. I used to be able to stand up, no problem. And now, of course, we're noticing you gotta almost like we're going back to being babies and doing the couch surfing to try and get ourselves back up off the floor. So what is with that?
Yeah. Okay, yes. Stiff joints during menopause. Often a result also of those declining estrogen levels, which can reduce the collagen production, again, increase inflammation, which affects joint health. And this hormonal shift can also contribute to weight gain. So that extra weight gain then also puts extra stress on the joints, like the knees and the hips, which can also increase pain. You can see how this is kind of all put together, right? And then additionally, some women may also experience progression in arthritis because of all this, which then can cause more pain and more stiffness. So the things that can help with that, again, are taking the right collagen and antioxidants like glutathione, because those can strengthen the joints. That helps both the hair follicles, like we were talking about the thinning hair. It can also help with the joints. Both of these products can help with both of those. Um, as well as resveratrol and CoQ10, because those both improve blood flow in both in all tissue repair. So it'll help with the joints. It'll also help with hair growth. And you find those in your Eternal.
Yeah.
Um, the other one that I'll throw in there is anti-inflammatory phytonutrients.
Mm.
So, in Revive, so this is one of my favorites as well. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and there is curcumin, which is basically a very, very clean form of turmeric. Makes a huge difference for inflammation. And there's boswellia and cumin oil, and this reduces joint pain and really helps support kind of just hormonal harmony, I guess, for lack of a better term.
That
But
sounds good.
yeah,
That makes it
right.
sound nicer.
So it really, all of them really together makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Well, this is amazing. It definitely answers a lot of questions because, of course, so many of us going through it, obviously, at the same time. So we all need to figure
Yeah.
out the proper supplements to be taking. And we do have a couple of testimonials that we're going to bring on here today.
Great.
We've got Christina and Maria, if they wouldn't mind jumping on, and we can hear from Christina first.
Just want to say thank you so much for having me on. So I, gosh, I learned so much just by listening. And so, excuse me, this is what desert does to me. So was introduced to 3 about a year ago, and by my hairstylist and my friend, and she's also a founder with 3, and she gave me a little packet of the collagen. And right the night before I was getting married, and the night before my wedding, and she had given me a little packet, and I loved the taste. And she says, "Oh, you'll notice a difference." And honestly, I did. I felt like my skin was a little smoother. But so I don't know how much time I have, so I'll try not to talk too long. But I'm going to go personal if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So prior to that, I'm kind of jumping around, forgive me, but I have a whole point and a rhyme and a reason behind everything I say. So prior to, gosh, 5 years ago, I had breast implant illness. I no longer have implants, but I suffered 20 years. I almost died. I was everything that I suffer with menopause or suffered with menopause. It was double for 20 years, and it was awful. I was sicker than a dog. I almost was hospitalized until I discovered what my problem was. So the past 3, I think it was 3 or 4 years now, I've been detoxing and trying to get rid of all these symptoms. And then what happens? I hit menopause. So this is right before I discovered 3. So I was finally healing from the breast implant illness, getting back to normal, but now I'm jumping into menopause. I'm like, okay, I can't win. So the brain fog came back, the tiredness, the low libido, the hair loss. By the way, my hair, I didn't wash it in the past 2 days. I usually have very full, nice, bouncy hair, but I didn't wash it, and today I straightened it. So, but my hair, I lost so much hair. So the past couple of years, I've been trying to, recover. Then Mina introduces me to the collagen, and I loved it, loved the taste. Now, my husband is a health science major. So
Ooh.
for 3 weeks, he studied 3
Yeah.
international supplements, and he's a supplement expert. And after 3 weeks, he says to me, "Christina, this is the real deal. We're going to do this. We're going to take them." So we went to convention last year, and we came back. We became founders. We came back, and we have been on all the supplements. So my symptoms from menopause were diminishing. And I was like, wow, I'm not really having hot flashes, not really having night sweats. And then we were, then all of a sudden we were out of our supplements, forgot to place our order. And maybe it was on back order. It was when I think everything was just on back order. So here I was suffering again, like, oh my gosh, like I'm having the hot flashes, the brain fog, the arthritis, in my one finger. And I was just miserable. So then our order came in back on the supplements. And I think that it's been probably 6 months now. I rarely have a hot flash. I rarely have night sweats. Just depends. I live in the desert. So sometimes I do have, a night issue, or maybe during the day I might have a hot flash, but honestly, it's not like I was having them every 20 minutes. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
all day long. I was miserable. I was sweating and I can't stand the heat.
No.
So here I am, in the desert, sweating, and I'm just, this is not okay. So
No.
since I've been, consistently taking all of the supplements, I actually was out of Etranel, just reordered about probably a couple weeks ago. So now I'm consistently taking the Etranel, and it really has made a world of difference. So,
Yeah.
and I don't take any hormone replacements. I've talked about it, thought about it. I don't know what would be right for my body, but right now I'm taking the 3 supplements, and that's all I do. I take 3. I diet. I eat very healthy, very clean, except on weekends. I don't. I cheat. And then I exercise. So I believe, if you are only taking the supplements, that's wonderful. But we really do need to incorporate a healthy diet, and exercise.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
No, for sure. That's awesome. Well, I'm
Christina,
glad
thank you for
you're feeling better with that. That's
Yes.
awesome.
thank you for sharing with us. That's
I
really
Oh, you're welcome. I forgot to
feedback.
mention, did I mention I'm 55?
Oh, you
So,
look beautiful.
oh, thank you. Yes. It's funny because we went to the beach. My son lives in San Diego, and it's kind of interesting when I'm walking around with my son, they think I'm he's 29. I'm 55. They think I'm with him. I'm like, no, but
No.
but since I started, my friends in New Jersey and my friends in Florida, I have friends in California and San Diego, they just keep like, what are you doing? You look so much younger. And I try to tell them it's my amazing supplements. And so some people are interested, and some, they have to see me in person and they'll
Yeah.
say, wow, okay, you look much younger than we do. We're all the same age. So,
Give
but
me
I
what you're
feel
having.
great. Sorry.
Give me what you're having, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina.
My
Now
pleasure.
we're going to hear from Maria. Hello, Maria.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for inviting me on tonight. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and this was the perfect opportunity. So thank you so much. So my story, I am 48 years old. I think I started perimenopause about, I want to say like 3 years ago, right? I started feeling the symptoms. So here's my story. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a sports nutrition specialist. This is what I've done for over 25 years. I was an athlete. I was a triathlete. I competed. I was a martial artist, black belt. I've been in sports all my life. And competed at a high level. And so lots of injuries, you can only imagine. I always felt really good. And I think because of all the exercise, I always slept really well. Oh my God, I hit the bed and I'm out. It's always been my story, right? Then about 3 years ago,
All changed.
I started like not sleeping well. I would wake up at 3 in the morning. Okay, oh, and by the way, I started late. I have little children. I'm 48 years old. I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, right?
Oh boy.
And so you know what that means, right? I have to keep up with them. I want to go to the park. They have all this energy.
Right.
And it was very strange because like all of a sudden 3 years ago, just that energy just whoop. And yes, I was exercising. And when I exercised, I was wonderful in that moment and it felt great. And I was still feeling great after, but I had those drops. And those drops were such drops. I mean, to the point where like you feel depressed, you feel like what's going on. And I go to my doctor, my gyno, and he wants to put me on meds. And I've never wanted that. This is before 3, right? So 3 years ago, before 3 came out. And I was just like, there has to be a solution. This has always happened to me that with my own clients, I was always like, there's something missing. There's a missing link here for my own clients and for even myself. I've always eaten very clean, very healthy, but I know that my own food that I'm eating clean is missing a lot of nutrients because our soil is so depleted. So I was like, there's a
Yeah.
missing link, and I know there's something out there that can help me, but I just haven't discovered it yet. I'm not there yet. And then 3 comes out 2 years ago. I started 3 2 years ago when the company started. Um, I am so happy I discovered 3 because I started taking them, not knowing, not thinking maybe I should get on something. And then I kept the back of me was like, no, 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 that's not you. You should not take anything. You should just go the natural route. And so I started taking it, and I gotta say that Vitalite has been probably number one, but right behind there is for me Eternel
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Revive. And I'll tell you why. This is where, like, to me, Revive, being an athlete all those years, doing so many sports, training, exercising a lot, the inflammation I was feeling already in the perimenopause, everything was coming out, all the pains. I was going numb at night from my wrist from all the years of martial arts and boxing and everything. And it was waking me up. And it's like the curcumin, the boswellia that's in there, the natural ingredients,
Yeah.
it's liposomal. I mean, and that, like, within 2 months, all that inflammation started going down. And
Yeah.
then my feelings of at 3 o'clock, I would crash. I mean, I was so tired. I could like knock out and go to sleep. And at 3 o'clock, I had to deal with homework time. Homework time. And so I needed to be probably more wired up than I was for my own clients, because these
Yeah.
kids, I had 2 kids that were like, okay. And wow, that really helped. I was suddenly having my energy back at 3 p.m. that I wasn't, and all of a sudden I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night again. I was back to like in my 20s that I just was sleeping through the night, and I'm still sleeping through the night. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I gotta say that the Eternal too, with the resveratrol and the glutathione, I mean, that's the mother antioxidant. It's just the blend for me of those 3 has been such an improvement for my perimenopause. And I feel great. I know every once in a blue moon I'll feel a few little symptoms, but that's nothing. And what I'm not on any drugs. I'm not on any, I'm on
Exactly.
something from the earth, from that God created, Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
that's
and
awesome.
yeah, and one of the things is I can say I take all of them. I take all of our supplements. I think all of them combined gives you that whole wellness, you know. But I do
Absolutely.
have to say that it's something that just by, talking, what stands out are the 3: Vitalite, Eternal, and the Revive, for sure. Yeah, so
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
that's I'm happy for you because
Thanks,
it's
Maria.
it's a game
Yeah.
changer for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really has changed my life. Yeah, my
Awesome.
kids notice it. I mean, my kids notice it.
Well, then they notice everything. So good.
Right. Right.
They notice everything, that's for sure. Yes.
Thank you
Awesome.
for
Well, this was
sharing.
so fun
Yeah.
getting
Yes, it
everybody
was.
on here and getting to hear everybody's little story. Because I know for me, for sure as well, the Eternal and Vitalite are by far what get me going through the day, being a nurse and having the shift work and then going through all this at the same time. And I honestly believe that I don't see some of my symptoms because I'm taking these supplements. Because I hear some people that are even younger than me already going through this, and I'm so lucky that I don't have to experience any of that right now. Just a little bit of tiredness once in a while, but then I pop that Etranel and it saves me. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, incredibly.
All
And the
right.
bloat, I would say too, the bloat. Like I remember being, right when I was about to get my period, like being so bloated beyond, and thinking, well, that's just the way it is,
Right.
And no, I don't get that
Exactly. It
bloat,
doesn't have to be that
It
way.
does, right. It doesn't have to be that way. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, this is so amazing. Well, thanks for so much for coming on. And well, thank you, Christina. It was nice to hear your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you, obviously, to Dr. Ashley for giving us the detailed information and all this. Sorry for my dog. I was either take him in with me or put him out, and he's
Oh
been
no, he's so
driving me
cute.
crazy the whole time here. But thanks, ladies. This was a pleasure. And
Thank
if
you.
anybody has any other questions, obviously go to the person who brought you to this video, and they would be happy to provide with some more information with anything that you need. And I hope everybody has a fabulous day.